Thank you, Mr. President. Today I rise to offer this amendment, Amendment 8, with Senator Murphy and other senators to the budget resolution we're currently considering. And the purpose of Amendment 8 would be to create a point of order against considering any legislation that would either strip Americans of health insurance coverage, make health care more expensive, or reduce the quality of health coverage. Our amendment creates a high hurdle to any legislation that would make America sick again. And basically that's what we're trying to do. If we're going to either strip coverage from people or make health insurance more expensive or reduce the quality of health coverage for Americans that they currently have, we shouldn't make that easy to do. We should have a high hurdle in place so that we consider it before we do it. That is the work of a legislative body. Overwhelmingly, it should be improvements to existing law, and the Affordable Care Act needs significant improvement, just as other health care laws do, just as virtually everything we do needs improvement. But there is no reason, while we acknowledge the need for improvement, to repeal a law outright without having a sense of what the replacement would be, because by doing so, what we do is create chaos in the economy, chaos in the health insurance market, and especially chaos in the most intimate and important area of people's lives, their health. I met with Ashley Hawkins, a young mother in Richmond, a mother of 2 kids. Sat around a conference table at a federally chartered community health center in downtown Richmond and talked to stakeholders, and Ashley told her story. She had a pre-existing health condition. Before the Affordable Care Act, she was uninsurable. After the Affordable Care Act passed, she suddenly could get insurance. Ashley owns a small business. She runs a nonprofit group that provides community arts education that serves others. Because of the ACA, she has been able to sign up on exchanges, get health insurance for her business, and because of her income, she can receive subsidies to make that health insurance affordable. She makes $45,000 a year. Without health insurance, the recent hospital bill for the birth of her youngest child would have been close to $16,000. But with the Affordable Care Act, she receives a subsidy, and she is able to access high-quality health insurance for her and her 2 kids for $280 a month. It's the difference between not being able to afford to go to a hospital and deliver a child and be able to afford, as a small business owner, a health insurance policy that covers her and her 2 kids for less than $300 a month. This is what she said as we sat around the table and talked about what it means to have affordable insurance. She says, quote, "It has to do with self-esteem and security and well-being." Having health insurance is about security, even when you're not sick. Obviously, when you're sick or when you're delivering a child, health insurance is needed. But when you are a mother of 2 children, even if you are at the peak of your health, and even if your children are at the peak of their health, you would go to bed at night, and Ashley described this, wondering, what will happen tomorrow if my child gets sick? What will happen tomorrow if I'm in an accident? Not having health insurance for a parent is a continuous agitating voice in your mind, an anxiety creator about what is going to happen to my family if we get sick or get in an accident, which is something that happens to virtually every family. It has to do with self-esteem and with security and with well-being. I had a woman write me a letter, a Virginian from Williamsburg a couple of years ago, who said, "My husband and I are self-employed and can never afford insurance. And because we couldn't afford insurance, we decided that we couldn't have children. We couldn't pay a hospital bill." What the Affordable Care Act has meant to us, we often talk about life and death issues in the sense of illnesses, sicknesses, cancer diagnoses, pre-existing medical conditions. They can be life or death issues, but they can also be life issues in the sense of this couple wrote and said, because we could now get insurance as self-employed individuals with subsidies to make it affordable, we are now going to start a family. Because of the Affordable Care Act, they could start a family. So, Mr. President, I conclude and just say that the amendment that Senator Murphy and I and others offer, it would seek to protect what we have, protect coverage, protect cost, protect quality, by making it harder to enact legislation that would strip these important items away from tens of millions of Americans. We should be sitting down at the table to talk about reforms. So many of us want to do that, but we should not be rushing into a repeal that would jeopardize people's lives. And I would urge my colleagues to please support Amendment number 8. Thank you, and I yield the floor.